Hello again. Alrighty then, so next up on the chopping block as far as reviews go is Uncharted Drakes Fortune. Now, I've been looking forward to Uncharted for quite a while, and for the most part, it is a really good game. But that's all Uncharted is, really, a good game. It's not great, it doesn't innovate anything in any ways, but at least it doesn't try to be something it's not, like far too many video games do and end up falling down into the endless black abyss that is shitty games out on the market. So without any more rambling, let's get right into it. Uncharted, to start off, I must admit, looks absolutely fantastic. There's no shortage of beautiful scenery in this game. Everything looks realistic, almost like you could reach out and touch the environment. And there's very little slowdown in this game, even though, as mentioned, it is quite the eye-candy, beautiful, pretty game. Now, the game itself plays a bit like an amalgamation of Prince of Persia and Gears of War. What do I mean by that, you might be asking? Well, it's quite simple. The running, jumping, platforming segments seem like they're ripped straight out of Sands of Time, only the ledges can be a bit hard to see because everything blends and looks natural, and more than once I found myself jumping for a rock face expecting to be able to grab onto it, only to fall to my death on the jagged rocks below and have Nathan Drake, that's the main character you play as, ragdoll around and turn into a bloody, messy pulp. It was actually quite amusing. The Gears of War end comes from the combat, which, as you might expect, seems like it is literally ripped straight from Gears of War. I don't really have any complaints there. I love the way the combat works in Gears of War, and it works great for Uncharted. You'll be running around, crouching behind cover, popping out to take pot shots at the bad guys. You don't have a life bar, instead you just have a regenerating, sort of behind-the-scenes health bar, and the more monotone the screen gets, the more damage you've taken. Alright, now let's talk irritations. This game, as I said, is, though fun, very generic. Its storyline feels like it was ripped straight out of an Indiana Jones movie, and the characters, though amusing, are all fairly shallow and packed so full of one-liners it's cringeworthy. Nathan Drake especially has no end to the cheesiness whenever he complains about being assailed on all sides by droves of bad guys that for some reason seem to have telescopes built into their eyes, along with the ability to see through walls, so they can hit you from a million miles away no matter where you are, even if they're wielding a simple pistol. Quite irritating at times. But then again, a difficult game is not a bad game, as I've said before. If you're afraid of a challenge, don't play video games. There is one thing I found in this game to be rather perplexing, though. The bad guys in this game seem to have a barrel fetish, almost as if they have been taking pointers from Donkey Kong on how to defeat your enemies. No, really, I'm serious. There are exploding barrels everywhere, and I mean everywhere. There's even one part in the game where you're going up a river in a jet ski, and the bad guys are throwing exploding barrels down the river at you. Exploding barrels! What are exploding barrels doing in a game about hunting down ancient treasure? For God's sakes! Will somebody please tell the video game industry that exploding bloody barrels are not original anymore? Anywho, my raving about exploding barrels aside. God, exploding barrels. Honestly. Yeah. Anyways, raving about the exploding barrels aside, despite the somewhat shallow characters, Drake's Fortune is still a beautiful looking game with fun gameplay, and is at least worth a rent if not a buy, because it is a little on the short side, and has little replayability really. So, all in all, Drake's Fortune nets a solid 7 out of 10 from me. Not necessarily worth a buy, and not the greatest game ever, but you could do a hell of a lot worse, that's for sure. And hey, at least you'll get some more use out of your PS3. And hey, at least you'll get some use out of your PS3 beyond friggin' Resistance and Motorstorm for a change. Griff out.